Thank you very much. I'm with the DA Federal Leader, Mr. John Steenhuisen here, who has completed a visit to Phoenix and Inanda. These are the two communities, these are one of the communities that were severely affected by the recent chaos and looting that we saw last month. Behind me is the garage that was affected and looted and burned. We spoke with the owner who said the damage that was suffered here is estimated at about 40 million rands. The DA has had a chat with the owner of this garage, but I'll just bring in Mr. John Steenhuisen to tell us more. Sir, thank you very much for your time. You've visited many affected communities. What is the sentiment on the ground?
I think a lot of people are very scared and very nervous. I think they saw a situation that got out of control very quickly, and where law and order were not there to protect lives and property. And I think it's left a lot of people feeling very vulnerable. And so that's why it's very important that the state security and the state law and order apparatus gets down to the ground again and starts to build confidence of communities. Many of these people, including this business owner and many of the communities I've spoken to, feel abandoned, that they were left to their own protection when they needed the police the most. And so there's very clearly been some massive failings here, and those need to be addressed.
Now, following the chaos, there have been calls for a cabinet reshuffle. What's your stance on this?
Yeah, absolutely. We were the first party to call for the cabinet reshuffle because there's got to be political accountability for what happens. You can't have a situation where 300 people lose their lives, billions of rands are lost, and with them hundreds and hundreds of jobs that are just simply gone now. People would have worked in a place that we've seen today, like this one that's burnt out. Those jobs are gone with it. There has to be political accountability. It's very clear the police were not prepared. The president has said as much. And I think he's got to show the country that he takes this matter seriously, and gets on with putting in place ministers who are going to be able to do the job and ensure that this never ever happens again.
And are you prepared to serve on this cabinet? I heard, you were heard in the SABC saying you are prepared to work with Cyril Ramaphosa.
I said to them I'm prepared to work with government to help rebuild and to provide ideas in here. I've never once said I would serve in the president's cabinet. I would find it very difficult to serve in a cabinet with some of the people that the president has around the table. But I did say that the DA stands ready to be a partner with government to rebuild, to grow, and to ensure that we get South Africa onto a new trajectory. We've done it already in Parliament with the public protective vote. We've said very clearly where the President and his team put on the table reforms that are going to help us grow the economy, get people working again, and create businesses and jobs and fight corruption. We will be their best partner at the centre of South African politics to do so. I think the time has come in South Africa where people want to see politicians working together to find solutions to those problems. Sitting around a table squabbling is not going to rebuild a single one of these buildings. It's not going to create a single job. That's why I'm positioning my party as a solutions-oriented party that has got ideas and is willing to put them on the table and work with any other party in the country, including the ANC, if they are prepared to adopt the reforms that are required to get the country moving forward again.
And during the chaos, we saw communities coming up, standing up and protecting their neighborhoods, but now those have been branded as racial mobilization. What is your response to that?
I don't think it's racial mobilization. I think that that is a red herring being used by some political organizations to mobilize people and to try and deepen the hurt that is already in many of these communities. I think what we saw was a vacuum of law and order, and into that vacuum came chaos and lawlessness. And we saw acts of vigilantism, which we condemn in the strongest possible terms. We saw looting and burning, which we condemn in the strongest possible terms. But we also saw communities that had no choice because the police had abandoned them to be able to stand and protect their homes, protect their loved ones. And they are the real heroes in this particular crisis because despite very, very difficult circumstances, they maintained the law and order. And of course, there's an element of vigilantism that crept into that, but that's what happens when you have a breakdown of law and order, which is why it must never happen again. Why we have to have a professional police service that knows how to deal with crowd control and would have nipped this in the bud right at the beginning instead of allowing it to snowball wildly out of control, where it's now caused billions of rands worth of damage and huge cost of life.
Thank you very much
Thank
for your time, sir. Well, that was John Steenhuisen, the federal leader of the Democratic Alliance, who's just concluded a visit here in Inanda. We know that he's been visiting affected families across KwaZulu-Natal and other provinces.